The air in Geneva today wasn't just cold, it was frozen by the weight of history. For months, the world held its breath as U.S. and Iranian diplomats sat across from each other in a desperate, final bid to avoid a global conflagration. But as of 1 hour ago, the talking has stopped. History doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. On March 17, 2003, the world heard a 48-hour ultimatum that changed the Middle East forever. Today, the Wall Street Journal reports a new ultimatum, one even more severe, and one that has just been met with a resounding, defiant no. The negotiations haven't just failed. They have ended. And in the corridors of power from Washington to Moscow, the consensus is unanimous. War is no longer a possibility. It is an imminence. The United States came to Geneva with two key demands that were designed not for compromise, but for capitulation. First, the immediate and total dismantling of Iran's three nuclear crown jewels, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. Washington didn't just ask for a pause. They demanded that international monitors be allowed to enter these high-security sites immediately to begin the physical destruction of centrifuges and labs. Fordow, a facility carved into a mountain specifically to survive a nuclear strike, was to be turned into a tomb. The second demand was the final nail. Iran must deliver all remaining enriched uranium directly into the hands of the United States military. Not a neutral third party, not the UN, but the U.S. military. It was a demand for total nuclear surrender. In 2003, Saddam Hussein didn't reject the U.S. order immediately. He waited, calculating his survival. But the Ayatollahs in Tehran have made their move instantly. They have comprehensively and flatly rejected every single U.S. demand. To the leadership in Tehran, these demands weren't a treaty, they were a death warrant. By saying no, they have chosen to fight so absolute that it left the diplomats in Geneva with nothing to do but pack their bags. The time for pens is over. The time for swords has begun. From the intelligence hubs of London to the war rooms of Jerusalem, the analysis is identical. Security experts who have spent their lives predicting conflict are now saying the same thing. The die is cast. The most chilling advice reportedly given to Tehran by their own allies in Moscow and Beijing? At this stage, war is inevitable, unless the Ayatollahs move to Russia. It is a stark realization. The world's superpowers believe the only way for the Iranian leadership to survive the coming days is to abandon their soil entirely. If they stay, they face the full, unbridled might of a U.S. military that has already proven its absolute resolve. As the sun sets over Geneva today, the diplomats are heading home. But they aren't going back to a world of peace. They are going back to prepare for a conflict that could reshape the 21st century. The demands were clear. The rejection was total. In 2003, the silence after the ultimatum lasted only 48 hours before the first tomahawks hit Baghdad. The world is no longer wondering if war will happen. We are only wondering what time it begins. The Geneva talks have ended. The war has already begun in the minds of the generals. Stay tuned. Stay vigilant.